Action.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Stack Demos. I'm your host, Heather Joslyn, features editor of the New Stack. And today we're going to learn about the OpenSauced platform and how that works. Our guest today is Brian Douglas, founder and CEO of OpenSauced. Hi, Brian.
Hello, thanks for having me, Heather.
Thank you for joining us. If you've been following the New Stack makers and our Tech Founder Odyssey series, you're already familiar with Brian and with OpenSauce. But Brian, can you, for anyone who hasn't seen it, and you all should listen to the series, and especially our episode with Brian. Can you fill us in a little bit on the audience on what OpenSauce does?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and we've come along. That was a couple months ago that we actually had a conversation. We were only a couple months in, but yeah, open source intelligence platform to empower hiring managers, maintainers to find some of the best talent in open source. And it really comes down to we're taking a look at what contributions look like and identifying their frequency of contributions, so what velocity looks like. And we're going to eventually, which I don't have a demo for today, but hopefully the next month or so, start looking at those contributions, identify maintainers, folks who do dependency updates, maybe documentation writers based through some heuristics and machine learning. It's exciting stuff. But yeah, we're really just sort of slicing and dicing and serving up the pie of open source.
Terrific. And can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to cover in today's demo?
Yeah, so today's demo, I want to showcase our platform where you can see insights into industry contributions, as well as our new Insights dashboard, where you can start tracking your own open source projects or community projects to see where contributors are coming through. And then finally, I'll also show our new profile. So still a work in progress. We have some of the first, it's open source project as well. So if you're watching this, you probably have a lot of updates that we have since this video goes published and live. But yeah, really just identifying contributors and highlighting their contributions.
Okay. Well, Brian, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so here we're actually looking at the landing page for OpenSauce. A lot of context around what we're trying to do and accomplish is on the landing page. This went live last month, and really proud of it. Working with one of a designer friend of ours, and happy that it's now live. So you have a couple options where you can go ahead and start now, which will onboard you if you're a company and to get insights into your projects, or just explore projects, which is what I'm going to show real quick. So what I've done is I've actually filtered the projects to everything that's ML. So unfortunately, that's a lowercase l, but it is machine learning. And what we've done is we've taken all the topics on GitHub repos and filtered those into one page to be able to see all contributions for machine learning projects. So these are all projects that have opted in. We've got about 500 PRs that have been open and closed for the last 30 days. And the cool part about this, I really like this, we're using an open source project called Nevo. And it's a chart library where we can sort of highlight and showcase different individuals and their contributions. So this will take a second to cache because I've never looked at this individual's contributions. But the idea is that we can see what contributions are active and still open for the sake of someone just looking to explore this ecosystem, which is machine learning. But I do have a better one that's already cached. But we have also I clicked over to another tab, which is now this is JavaScript, because I'm way more familiar with these projects. And we're able to filter by the most active projects. So if you want to see projects that get a lot of contributions, we can now see, okay, Eddie Hub's community has link free. It's a great project. I'm actually just talked to Eddie last weekend, and they're getting a high amount of contributions because their onboarding path is to do something simple to onboard a new contributor in their community. So the beauty of that is we can see not just see the most popular projects, and then what we shipped recently is the ability to see individual contributors' profiles. So if you've never signed into OpenSauce, you can see this individual, Ayush, has contributed to link free. And these are the contributions they've done over the past 30 days. If there's somebody who happens to have multiple contributions in multiple repos, you'll see multiple repos here. So one person I had set up was a person who's leading engineering over at OpenSauce, Brandon Roberts. He contributes to a few different repos, but for now, he's only contributing to OpenSauce. So you can see his 23 PRs and his progress and contributions here. So the idea is we're mostly folks, you can only see what's in your own organization or own repo. We can see contributions across the board. And the purpose really is like you're looking to identify talented individuals that maybe you want to encourage to come contribute to your project. So the last tab I have is what the future of our profile is going to look like, where you can request collaboration, as well as follow individuals if you see someone's doing some enticing work in the open source community or open source community, really. And then as well as contribute highlights. So we've got a lot of features in flight. You can see everything that's open source in the GitHub repo.
And I would think that this would come in not just if you want to find who's contributing to a particular project, but also I would imagine if you're a hiring manager who's looking for people who are familiar with the project to work on it, to come work for your company.
Yeah,
It
100%.
could be a recruiting tool as well. I mean,
yeah, and that's actually our active conversations right now with folks, because we do have a pricing on our platform, which is about $100 a seat, and we're really just targeting folks who are at companies who do want to source candidates. The idea is like you have open source. Maybe your open source is kind of lackluster because you have a bunch of SDKs, individuals have left the company. How do you see an overarching theme or what's going on in multiple projects? That's a bit challenging when it comes to tools, even like GitHub today. Like you could see all the repos, but not in one dashboard. So we're having conversations with multiple folks I can't really disclose right now because I don't want to out them for their lack of ability to maintain their open source. But the idea is just make it easier for them to maintain that and then take that same sort of maintenance and contributors to potentially hire through that.
it's terrific. Is there anything else you'd like to show us about the platform?
No, I mean, the only other thing is that it's all open source as well. So if we scroll to the bottom and click I don't know why I had to scroll to the bottom, could have clicked on top as well, the GitHub repo. So would love for hearts, stars, and favorites on our platform. And then we do have a feedback repo, which I'm going to struggle to find, but we have a discussion. If you have any feedback from the platform, please drop it.
That's great. So that's how people can get sort of involved in the open source community.
Correct. Yep. And then we're on Twitter, and hello@opensauced.pizza is the email.
Great. So and that's not hard that's not hard to remember. OpenSauced.pizza.
Yes, correct. We gotta keep it sticky or saucy, rather.
That's right. Well, thank you very much, Brian, for joining us, and it's been a pleasure. And thank you to all of you for checking out today's episode of the New Stack Demos. I'm Heather Joslyn for TNS. We'll see you next time.
If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on all the major social media platforms. You can always find us at thenewstack.io. We hope to see you soon.